a college is being sued. It's being sued because an athlete with Down syndrome is upset about the discrimination. And so are we. Here's some of the video. Caden Cox, all right, let's put up the picture for a mask. Was full of school spirit. Viral star Caden Cox is now suing the university where he once made history, and he's suing them for virulent abuse. Mr. Cox is now 23, burst onto the national sports scene, if you remember, fall of 2021, after kicking a third quarter field goal and went on to kick 3 more that season, earning a feature on ESPN. He says he was traumatized by a campus supervisor who used slurs about people with disabilities and threatened him with a knife. Mr. Cox also worked while attending Hocking College, a community college in Nelsonville, Ohio, where the suit alleges he was harassed and assaulted by his boss. His supervisor, Matthew Moscow, is among the defendants named in the suit, along with Betty Young, the school president, the board of trustees, and 5 unnamed college employees. Now, here's the supervisor and school president together, all right? There they are. Basically, buck stops with them. But then there is a governing authority of any college, board of trustees. Here they are. Okay. All right. So Matthew used the R word and other derogatory language around Cox and yelled and berated him in front of other employees, the suit alleges, adding that he also requested Cox for hugs and looked through his phone without permission. The lawsuit also detailed harassment complaints made by 3 other student employees about Matthew Moscow, who it said was hired directly by the college president, Betty Young, as a favor to a board of trustee member and without a customary background check. That background check would have revealed domestic violence charges from 2010 through 2016 in the state of Florida. As a result of the complaint, the lawsuit alleges that Young retaliated against Cox by removing him as the recipient of 2 graduation awards he had been selected to receive. Cox's name appears in a digital version of the graduation program, but his name was removed from the print version. He ultimately did not receive the awards, according to the lawsuit. Now, there are a lot of allegations in this lawsuit, a whole lot. And it is absolutely on the institution to respond in kind. But I will say this, based on the allegations, I'm absolutely shocked that all of this, and I'm talking about from the lack of a background check to hiring somebody based on a favor from the board of trustees, if this is true, I'm shocked that at the end of that, somebody would allow a person to discriminate against an individual who has so much spirit, heart, and love. So at this point, these allegations, we're waiting to see how the university responds and who actually says what. But at this stage of the game, I'm siding with my man here, Mr. Cox. All right, any thoughts?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is something that is incredibly easy to believe, because there's one thing that our society does with anybody who has any type of disability in one way, shape, or form, which is like strip away agency, right? There's even a lot of well-meaning people will do this, right? Well, they'll like come in with pity and say, oh, yeah, I feel bad for you, this, that, and the other thing, but do so in a way that fundamentally strips agency away from individuals. And it's part of like this larger problem that exists within our society where, anybody who's not incredibly privileged and white and fully abled and things like this is gonna get actively dehumanized in some way, because that's the way our culture unfortunately is. And when you have your agency stripped away like that, we also culturally enable abusive people to then find those people who are being alienated and stripped of agency in some way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, our society lets people commit harm to them with great regularity, right? The person accused of this was also accused of domestic violence, and that perfectly tracks with the type of pattern of behavior we'd expect to see from somebody like that. And unfortunately, it's something that our society doesn't do a very good job dealing with, because especially when you're stripping agency away from somebody, when then they later come in and say, hey, this was done to me, there's all this doubt and disbelief that happens. People always pretend like, oh, I couldn't imagine this possibly happening, when it happens literally all the time. It's just that because we are just casting people aside and not taking them super seriously, people are just more willing to disregard their claims of dealing with this type of thing.
Yeah, well, we take Mr. Cox and his claim very seriously, and we will follow the case as it develops and wait on an appropriate response.